It is the Matt Mosley Show right here on Rogue Media Network, brought to you by Central National Bank. We're going to go quick today. We're going to go hard to the paint. We're going to say what we have to say, and then we're going to leave it with you because we got an early morning tomorrow, and I'm not talking about at the parade. Now, is there a chance you may see me on a float tomorrow and then hustling over to do a pregame show? Maybe. Back in the day, I used to be in the parade. And Scotty, I thought that's where we would start today. Just a gentle, sometimes you gotta ease into things. Am I going to be talking about the future of Baylor coaches? Are we going to be talking about perhaps candidates? Are we going to be talking about what could happen if they lose this game Saturday? Or what if they win this game even? Because that's a possibility. They're favored to win this game, if you didn't know. We got a lot to cover here. But Scotty, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up good old Baylor homecoming and the fact that you and I, oh my goodness, is that little Scotty Swinkler?
No.
That footage looks too old to be Scotty. This may be. We are very much aware of the things that make Baylor unique, and one of those is the way the Bears do homecoming. And through down periods, which we've had a lot of, sadly, and through great periods, the homecoming takes place no matter what. And here is where I'll be on homecoming. What you're seeing right now is Pigskin, and there's the Golden Wave Band. But with Pigskin, Scotty, I'm planning to be at the 10:30 showing tonight. In fact, one of my best friends and my old college roommate, a man that was in my wedding and I was in his, is the MC of that event. That'd be Blair Browning. And lots of folks that wanted to kind of get their GPAs up and have a wonderful professor ended up over there at Castellaw Communications. I started out the business school at Baylor and then quickly found my way over to Castellaw, where I did speech communication and then where I did history and history major as well. And by the way, I'd like to say a nice word for Professor Hendon, Dr. Hendon, Professor Hendon, a history professor. We lost him in recent days. So shout out to the Hendon family, because I liked him and I liked having Western Civ from him. Now what you're seeing right now, I thought, to me, Scotty, that's when the parade took an even bigger turn, is when they got sort of those Macy's parade type, though it's always been great. And the floats are fun. And and my fraternity used to spend a lot of time and do a great float. And then they became known, unfortunately, for like the Fijis just having the trailer bed with no float. Now I think they may be back to trying to do a float. And Scotty, I would say, you had a fraternity, as I recall the story, that pursued you very vigilantly, but for whatever reason, you decided not to go that route. I do think you would have been good in a float type situation. Like you would have been a good, kind of giving commands. I don't know if I would have trusted you to be the one up there, like putting it all together and using a hammer and things like that. But I do think you would have been a very good organizer and a guy that would have brought some things together. But Scotty, can you recall your first Baylor homecoming? What was the first little Scotty where the parents got you and
I can't recall it. And I'll be honest, Matt, and I was thinking about this earlier this week as well as today. We weren't really homecoming people. And I'll be honest. I grew up when I was a young kid, Matt, it was the 90s. And that was not, for those that have lived in or around Waco, the 90s were not prime time to just casually head to downtown Waco to catch a parade. Nor was it the prime time to be on campus a lot. We were at every single home football game my entire childhood. Are you taking a picture of me right now?
Keep going. I need you to know what I'm seeing on my screen, but I do want to hear this.
Okay. Now I'm concerned that StreamYard's not working right, but okay.
I don't know that people can see me anymore, and I'm going to show you what I'm seeing on my screen.
Okay, great. We're going to do some live production here while I talk about homecoming. I can see you.
Oh, you can.
If you're watching along, you can comment if you can still see and hear Matt. I can see you and hear you just fine. So
okay.
Hopefully we're good.
Okay.
I will watch out for your text. Anyway, we're at every single home football game, Matt. And so I think as someone who grew up in Waco, downtown was not really the place to be in the 90s. Not nearly like it is now, where it's developed and nice and there's all sorts of things to do. Oh, wow. Yes, these computers do that sometimes. Sorry about that. You are still good, sir. I will help you out of that predicament on a break. But yes, I think because I was at every home football game growing up, and maybe I went to the parade a couple times, but I do not recall, man. I mean, I recall homecoming becoming really significant to me as a student, and really then embracing the full gamut of traditions each weekend of homecoming. And then, of course, like Matt, this is the one weekend a year I'm usually guaranteed to see most of, if not all, my best friends from college who have indeed flung their green and gold afar and live everywhere but Waco. And so super excited. Our tradition, I don't think I am noteworthy enough that anybody would creepily show up here this evening if you want to catch Swingler with his buddies. Our tradition since graduation, Matt, we will begin our homecoming weekend early this evening, shortly after the conclusion of this show at Shorty's near campus. That is where we gather every Friday of homecoming weekend to kick off the weekend. And then what's fun about this weekend, Matt, is I will take my daughter after going to Shorty's. Baylor's doing a little gathering, little festival for the kiddos, some candy, some costumes, and that'll be on campus tonight is my understanding. And so my little girl is 16 months old. She will be a ladybug. I will begin dressing up next year when she can actually maybe understand what I'm doing with her. And I will not be dressed up tonight, and we will go get her some candy on campus. My little ladybug. So
I would hope you will attend, and I appreciate that, all that, and I'm glad you can still see me, because this, honestly, I kind of like staring at a very random scene that's helping me. With just the most. Oh, there I am. I am back. I honestly wish people could see what I was seeing. It's very halting to be going along doing a show and then suddenly see that on your screen. But great to be with you. Great to be back with you, Scotty. And thank you very much. I had a cold, kind of like what you're talking about now. It was huge with my family, and possibly because we lived out of town. You were in town, and maybe it wasn't the parade and everything. You didn't grow up it being such a huge thing. It was to us. And for my dad, who went to Baylor Law School, the old law school, that's where I went to law school too. Didn't quite come out on the other side, but I did attend law school there. And that was the gathering spot. For years upon years, and you met up with all your friends. And then, of course, when you were in school, it just was a whole different feeling. And I was in the student foundation, and we would ride our bikes in the parade. And then when my little girl was about your daughter's current age, a little bit older perhaps, and I don't know if this was John Morris, I don't know who made something like this happen, but when I was in my 30s and I was doing radio in Dallas, and I was doing whatever else I was doing, writing for ESPN.com. Baylor did this like really cool thing and honored me in the parade. And so I got my own sports car or whatever. I sat on the back of one of those cars. And I remember that breakfast that morning, the people that were being honored in the parade showed up for a breakfast at like before the parade. So it was like 6 a.m., 6:30 breakfast, which is not easy for me to attend, obviously, but I made it happen because it was a neat deal. And I remember getting to eat next to the living legend that is Coach Clyde Hart, and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm being honored on the same day that Clyde Hart is somehow, and that was kind of that was pretty neat. I think sometimes people use like humbling the wrong way. So I don't. It's not. I don't know. Maybe that was, but I just remember thinking this is wild. And my parents were there. Unfortunately, my wife and daughter were. My daughter, I think, was attending that morning in Oklahoma State with her grandparents, a parade. And I'm not bitter at all about any of that, right? 20 something years later. But no, that was pretty cool. Being in that parade. And again, I don't know, it may have been JMO. I don't know who was kind of responsible for that. But that was a neat time. And to have grown up in it and then been in the parade and honored, that was really cool. I was probably 35 or 36 or something like that. So anyway, some neat memories of homecoming. And I got to say, Scotty, I always liked it when, and I like chaos and I like weird. I mean, not too much of it, but I do like weirdness. And I would love, even as a high school kid or junior high, however old I was, reading The Rope. I loved. I was fascinated with the Nose Brotherhood, and I didn't really know what they were about, but I knew it was some people that I would kind of like. And I was probably a little too mainstream to go totally that direction, but I loved what they were up to. And I loved that they were satirizing and they were doing some very, very funny things. And I just remember that was one of my highlights when they would throw that freaking newspaper out, The Rope, to grab that and read all those funny ads. Like, again, even when I was like third or fourth grade.
Oh, yeah. The rope is a strong Baylor tradition.
And then I kind of liked being in Pigskin or Sing. It even happened, I think, when I was a student, when they would come in and interrupt the production and do some goofiness like the Nose Brotherhood. So and there's certain things from The Rope that I still think about. Like there's certain lines, and they did stuff that I thought was funny because they would like make up fake dialogue that Herbert Reynolds was saying, right? The president at the time. And they had Herb Reynolds saying something was nugatory BS. And I didn't at the time even know what like nugatory meant. I don't even know if I still know. But in my mind, when there's something horrible or stupid or completely BS, I probably read that line when I was in 5th grade. And I still find myself wanting to say that was nugatory BS because of the Nose Brotherhood. And I always was fascinated when they would call whatever they would call themselves, like Brother El Mott. They were attached to the local communities and all that kind of stuff. So
now,
yeah.
Now, Mosley, I feel like I need to respond here. So you did make mention I was not a part of any Greek life or those such organizations on campus. I will have you know I am very good with a hammer, though. So I don't know where that comment came from a few minutes ago about you wouldn't trust me with a hammer.
Lizzie was nodding in agreement with me when I was doubting your construction skills. You are good with meat. I mean, and that sounds odd to say out loud, but you are good with smoked meats. And
yes, sir.
Yeah. And so I was interested about that. So perhaps when I heard that, I should have known that you might be fairly handy, because people that are great grill type people probably can do other things. So yeah.
The barbecue pit is where I like to live in my free time. Absolutely. But what I was going to say, we talked last week. If I could go back in time and do an on-campus organization,
You would have pledged Fiji.
Absolutely not. Not when I was there. Although they did try to recruit me. They did. I had a couple of older Fijis after me for a little bit. No, I would do Phi Chi, and I would mostly do Phi Chi so I could be in Sing. That is probably the biggest miss of my Baylor experience. But if I had a second choice, Matt, it would be the nose. I think it would have been so fun. That is one of the few campus organizations that I'm like, man, that actually, like, I don't have any regrets for my time at Baylor. It was wonderful. But I look at the nose and I'm like, that could have been really, really a good use of my time. Like that could have been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, when I was at Baylor, and of course we had our back-to-back Sing wins, which I don't really bring up very often, but the Phi Chi's,
so humble.
The Phi Chi's had a guy named Wes Holloman, I think was his name, and he was one of those dudes that could remember every move of that famous Janet Jackson video, the Rhythm Nation, and he was unbelievable. And so they were really good at using some of their Christian, like, I'll fly away, but they would somehow, and then what was that? Not Kokomo, but there was one Billy Joel song. That was like a later Billy Joel song. Anyway, they were good. They had a guy named Todd Lane from Amarillo, Texas, and he could flat out sing. They tested us. And then of course the KOTs had that one little move they could do. And tonight I will, for once, I usually stand up and boo lustily the KOT. No, I don't. I don't boo them, but your
family now.
My wonderful nephew has a solo or a duet. I think she's in fact, I think it's the girl that's their sweetheart or something. But he's got a duet tonight in the KOT act. So
and he's going to ask her on a date afterward, and we hope that works out for him.
Yeah, and Blair, the MC, when I do attend, gives me a little shout out. But also,
I took his class at Baylor.
Oh, good.
He was one of the 3 or 4 favorite professors. I think my parents let me invite for my graduation party. I invited 4 or 5 professors, and he was one. He could not make it, but he was great. That was a good class.
Yeah, just don't feel bad because he can't make anything I've invited him to in like the last 10 years.
Well, there you go.
His son, by the way, is on Matt Samon's. He's a captain on Matt Samon's Midway basketball team.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, big boon.
There's some good players on that team too.
Oh, I think so. I would have to think so.
No, I saw them play last season, so there's some good kids out there.
Yeah. Well, we're all our best to Midway. I yesterday we had Art Briles in town. That was very interesting. I've been in touch with Art, and we had some interesting back and forth. There was an opportunity to have Art via like a phone situation. I'll tell you what we'll do, Scotty. We're gonna get Art at a time when we can sit down with him and have an interesting long discussion on camera. And I got to say, yesterday's back and forth, I think the people in that room loved it. There were moments I really enjoyed. I have a hard time, if I were going to do a 30-minute interview with Art, I would have a hard time not discussing the elephant in the room, and that's how it ended, what he's been up to, what his regrets are. And I don't think Art should have, I'm just going to be upfront about some things. Art really could have helped himself more over the last 10 years if he had have just been a little more direct, a little more contrite, and a little more open about, hey, owning some things. And unfortunately, that thing got so ugly over the years that Art just couldn't, and I don't know if it would have mattered. everybody, what I say about people, what cancel culture, and I'm not the only person that's ever said this, Scotty, but I do think it's a good line, is like, people hate cancel culture unless they're doing the canceling, right? It's like this is horrible. I hate cancel culture, but wait, I would like to cancel this one person. I would like to do this. I don't know if Art could have maybe been back as a head coach if he had handled the aftermath differently. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I guess we'll certainly never know that. I will say, and I would say this right to Art's face, that some of us tried to give him good advice, and a couple of them are like really high up people, even that have ties to Baylor now. They really tried to kind of get him to handle the aftermath in a bit different way. And I think Art felt that he was done wrong in a lot of ways. And hey, by the way, there's a ton of people at that thing yesterday and that are Baylor fans that absolutely think he was railroaded, done completely wrong. But no matter if that's the case, when something awful happens or a scandal, like sometimes we have to, in life, all of us, like if we have a misstep or do something, we have to own it. We have to maybe sometimes you actually have to say you're sorry, even when you don't think you have anything to apologize for. And that may seem crazy to some folks, but you do. And by the way, I would still have certain gigs if I'd learned that lesson 20 years ago or 15 years ago. They used to say about me, Scotty, this is what Skin Wade always said about me. Ben and Skin are, radio people in Dallas. And they were great friends of mine. And we did radio together back in the day. And Skin always said of his breakdown of me was that I walk into any meeting or any room I'm in, I try to find the most powerful person in that room, and then I immediately pick a fight with that person. And, when I heard that first, I just laughed, but it's funny. There's some things we find out in humor. And like later on down the road, I was like, there was probably some truth to that. And I've gotten better about that. Like I now, people that are in positions of power that maybe even I report to, I treat them so differently than I did even 5 years ago, especially 10 years ago. Like I was hell to try to manage. Awful. And I think that's changed, but I waited to change that too late, like in my career, but that's okay. That's okay. Things happen. You learn things at any age. All right. It is, we're getting so philosophical here, Scotty. Now, Scotty, this is, and we've got all the time in the world. Are you posting that picture I sent you?
Yeah, I'm letting everyone see what you were going through about 10 minutes ago when you were.
When you told me everything was fine. Are you saying when I was looking at that everybody was seeing me?
Yeah, nothing changed on the broadcast end. It was just what you were saying that was jacked up.
If anybody wondered why I derailed the segment, which I do anyway, I can do that without any weird stuff on the screen. But my gosh, that was weird. You remember the other day, Scotty, one of our first times to do the pregame, the green and gold pregame, and one of our buddies was so concerned about me holding a Starbucks. They're not paying. We're like, I think we were kind of like, that's the least of our worries right now. Mosley's cup, whatever Mosley has in his cup. It is we do have we got some major Campus Confidential coming up. We're going to talk about some games. But before we do that, Scotty, I've been very interested in, we talked about the homecoming aspect. And I mean, we do love Baylor homecoming, and Baylor does homecoming right. And Scotty, that's going to be so fun for you to hang out with your buddies tonight. And Ted and Kyle Ferguson and Chris Salazar and all those guys that I know over at Shorty's appreciate your patronage. In fact, I may see if I could get a hold of Salazar and see if he'll hook you up with a slice of pizza or something tonight, Scotty. I'll see what I can do. But that's what homecoming's about. Seeing your old buddies, seeing your old pals, and Baylor does it better than anybody. Now, a lot of people are going to go over for the game. Some people may not. We have not known exactly what this crowd will look like. Mac Rhodes has a lot on his plate right now. He is the chairperson for CFP. He is the face of that, and he is, as we speak, trying to decide where to lead the Baylor football program, like where this thing is headed. Right now, it's 4-4, and it appears to be in a ditch. It appears to be in a major ditch. Scotty, and at 2:00 today, Scotty, I do want to get into some of your names because that interests me, and I have collected some information on a older gentleman that you are touting named Casey Keeler. I do want to talk about that, but right now I want to talk about what Saturday looks like. In addition to all those beautiful scenes that Scotty shared with us at homecoming, there will be a football game. And the Bears are favored to win this game by about 3.5 or 4 points. Now, the problem is UCF actually plays pretty good defense, and Scott Frost is not going to arrive in town with the attitude of, boy, Dave needs a victory. This could really, now again, Baylor could come out, have a great performance, and if they do and they win and they still fire Coach Aranda, then it'll be a nice way for him to go out. It'll be a nice way to honor him. If they lose, I mean, it's like certain teams like Florida and obviously LSU felt the need to make changes in a hurry and send a solid message to their fan bases. This will not stand. We are moving on. We are going to start now. That doesn't really feel like Baylor. In fact, Scotty, we talk sometimes about when Jerry Jones fires coaches, and the only in-season coaching firing he ever did was with Wade Phillips. They lost a game, and he still says he regrets it. They got blown out on the road to fall to about 1-7 or something against the Packers, and the team had quit, and he made the change, and he went to Jason Garrett as the interim. Scotty, I have no memory as horrific as some of these Baylor coaches were. And I mean, you know, the worst, of course, were Dave Roberts and Kevin Steele. I mean, it just in the post-Taft Reedy era, it got really away from them. Guy Morris brought some dignity back to the job, but couldn't turn the corner. They never fired someone during the season. I guess this just right now, the fan base seems so put out and done with Aranda and just everything associated with this program. It makes you think if they lose to UCF and they fall to 4-5 and they have a bye week coming up, that they might have to make a change. I'm not saying it's for certain, but I think there's about a 50 to 60% chance that would happen if they lost that game, and because it would just be so ugly, and the scene and everything, the optics, everything would be so ugly. Scotty, knowing what I'm saying, I think you would agree that a lot of Baylor fans that are so ready for change and so done with this head coach. And by the way, that is about 90 to 95% of the fan base. There's always those people who are like, root for the boys, Matt, stop being mean, root for the boys. It's the boys. It's about the boys. Back the boys. Don't be mean to that head coach. There's about 5% of the Baylor fandom that still is holding out hope that things will work out for Dave Aranda. The rest of the gang has moved on with their lives. Scotty, do you think, are you of the mindset that a loss on, because we don't want to spend our whole time talking about this on the Green and Gold game day. That's not really the forum for us to be firing and hiring coaches.
Correct.
But on this forum, we can. Are you of the mindset that if you lose this game, and no matter what manner you lose it, and you fall to 4-5 with the open week coming the next weekend, that it's almost 100% a change is made?
Gosh, Matt. I mean, yeah, and ultimately it comes down to Mac Rhodes, but in my mind, it has to. It has to, because at this juncture, I mean, the best you can finish if you win out is the same as you finished last season. And even to me, if you had told me that preseason, I would have told you that's unacceptable. You lose this game, you can't. You're going to finish worse than last season. By the way, if you lose this game, your odds of going to a bowl game plummet. Absolutely plummet. You have to win this one to make a bowl, because I don't know if you've watched Utah or Houston play this season, but they have significant advantages over the Bears on the football field. You've got to beat this UCF team, and you've probably got to beat Arizona on the road to make a bowl. And so if you lose this one tomorrow, Matt, in front of a half-empty homecoming crowd that is probably all the way empty by the time you lose, I just don't know if there's more bottom to reach. And I said on Pete's show this morning, for me, it comes down to this. Right now, the ire of the fan base is primarily directed at Dave Aranda, with some friendly fire coming back to Mac Rhodes. If Baylor loses tomorrow and Dave Aranda is not asked to leave by Sunday evening, I think that ire of the fan base shifts to Mac Rhodes. And Mac doesn't want that. I think Mac is too competitive to let that go. I think, frankly, with his obligations to the College Football Playoff Committee, it's probably easier for him to just get it done this weekend than like play limbo for the next 3-4 weeks while he manages that responsibility.
But it just does not feel like Baylor.
It also
they've ever done.
It also gives you an opportunity, as we've pointed out, to elevate Jake Spavital or Keenan Hall. And, you know, for all of the defenders of Aranda's program, if Keenan Hall takes over after a loss to UCF and gets the Bears to a bowl game, they win 2 of the next 3, then you have a conversation about keeping the staff together and letting Keenan Hall lead it. If Jake Spavital does the same. Otherwise, it gives you an opportunity to cross those guys off your list. And so I just think there's too many pros to it. And I know what you're saying. And you've said it. Pete said it to me. Other people have said it. It's just not very Baylor. It's 2025. College football isn't the same as it was 2 years ago. It's certainly not the same as it was in 2007, the last time Baylor fired a coach for performance on the field. It's a totally different world and a totally different ball game. And the money matters way more. And that would be my last point, Matt. I think Mac is going to do whatever the money tells him to do. If Baylor loses tomorrow and 2 or 3 of your big, reliable pockets step up and say, we'll pay the buyout, or step up and say, we're done. Like, we're not giving to this football program until there's a change. I don't care what Baylor's done in the past. Mac Rhodes will make a change at that point.
We shall see. And unfortunately, and I don't think you and I are wired, our Baylor fandom and our love for the school goes too deep to literally sit up there on homecoming and root for a loss against the Golden Knights and Scott Frost. But I would say a pretty large percentage of this fan base is looking for that to happen and just wanting change. And I think that in itself speaks a lot. And again, I think this administration hears that it's not that you said something about Mac being competitive. I mean, he's shown over the years that I've seen it. He's been disappointed in me before. He's not, this is no shrinking violet. This is not and to your point, Scotty, about like this thing has changed. I mean, just look at LSU. A governor comes out and badmouths an athletic director who at one point had a really good reputation. They win national championships in baseball at LSU, women's basketball, have had a Heisman Trophy winner in recent years, and that AD no longer has a job. They're negotiating his exit right now, And they've already announced today that they have an interim AD who will play a huge role in this coaching search and will help name this next coach. That AD was out within days of that AD and others deciding to fire this coach because a sitting governor. Now, again, Baylor's a private school, and thank goodness Dan Patrick and the governor, and Patrick's the lieutenant governor, but thank goodness the government, those governors, they can't really have any say about Baylor because who knows what they would be up to. And with the lieutenant governor and the governor, they, in Texas, they know so little about football that honestly, it sounds like the Louisiana governor had a little bit of a football knowledge in him. But I don't know if they could. I'll say that though, some little Congress, some state senator out of Midlothian, Texas, got an A&M president fired. Within days, that 4-star general got canned at Texas A&M because some state senator got mad and thought he was being too, quote unquote woke, and boom, he's out. He's gone. So it's interesting. So it can happen in Texas just like it happened in Louisiana. All right, we need to take care of our partners real quick. We've got such great ones to take care of, and we want to send everybody this homecoming over to like after the game. In fact, go over to Brazos, go over to the Brazos Landing. Going to be unbelievable scene over there after the game. They'll have incredible opportunities for you. But the Brazos Landing, I saw Claude and Becky Lindsay yesterday. Just great folks. And part of our great sponsorship team here at the Mosley Show. We'll do that, and then Scotty and I have some campus confidential for you.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7-HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. Yeah. Underdog, you know what it is. I showed you these picks yesterday, so I won't take way too long to put them back on the screen here. But here's what I'm rolling with. If you want to make some money with me this weekend on Underdog, I made 6 selections on my Underdog pick for this weekend. That is way more than I usually do. And so maybe you just take your favorite 3 of these. You only need 3 to make an Underdog selection. Or maybe you do all 6. Avery Johnson, higher than half a rushing touchdown. I think Kansas State, I'm going to talk to Matt about some college football picks here in a minute. I think Kansas State is going to have Texas Tech on upset alert tomorrow. I think Avery Johnson scores with his legs. Jaden Maiava for USC taking on a spiraling Matt Rule Nebraska squad that has been quite distracted. I wonder why. I think he throws for higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Connor Wegman has rushed for almost 100 yards and then over 100 yards the past 2 weeks. He's found his legs. I think he has higher than 34.5 rushing yards against a bad West Virginia team. Jalen Daniels is playing a worse Oklahoma State team. He will throw for higher than 2.5 passing touchdowns. Fernando Mendoza for my favorite good college football team. The Indiana Hoosiers higher than 9.5 rushing yards. That feels like child's play. Sawyer Robertson tomorrow. Listen, I don't know if Baylor's going to win the game, but Sawyer's going to have to throw for 5 touchdowns any game the rest of the season if Baylor stands a chance. So I've got him with higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns tomorrow. Remember, use the promo code Mosley. That's how you get this awesome bonus cash along with your $5 deposit. Lots of money just to play Underdog that you don't have to put into your account. Underdog, make picks, win money. We'll check in on Monday and see how those picks go for me and maybe how they'll go for you too, Matt.
Yeah, I've been monitoring your progress here, and you've given some good ones. I've got my eye on some of those games, some of those players, especially. And I did notice that, Scotty, I don't know if you're a Hat Creek guy. If the Longhorns win that game, there's a period of time between like 3 p.m. to 5 o'clock that you get like a free little hat with cheese burger over at, and of course we'll be pretty busy, but we will be done with our game by then. So interesting. Hat Creek, that's been a place that our family enjoys. So keep that in mind. Now, of course, I want everybody to go over to the Brazos Landing right after the game, and I think that'll be great. It is time to do some Campus Confidential, and Scotty, I know you've got some games for us to go over. You mentioned some of them right there. I think that Vandy going to Texas, and I knew this would happen. People love betting the Longhorns. That game has been bet up to about 2.5. I thought it might even go. I mean,
well, it's been bet up to 3. It's bet up to 3.5. It was a 2.5 to open. Now it's at 3.5. Yeah.
All right. I mean, you knew it would start moving in that direction, and so.
And I don't know. I told Pete I would bet Vandy. I don't want to disrespect the Longhorns defense. I think they're a very strong unit. Diego Pavia and their loss to Alabama on the road struggled. He turned the ball over a couple times. So there's a world where Texas defensively can get this done. But Matt, I think Vanderbilt's a better football team. I think they're a better football team.
I think that's true. I just think it's hard. We can't get the Vandy out of that name. Like, that's a different team than the Vandy of the past, and they're 7-1, and there's like a 42% chance. I just noticed on ESPN's computer model of them making the college football playoff, a 42% chance. I mean, like,
it's incredible.
For instance, for context, BYU has a 54% chance right now. Texas Tech with a 50% chance. Vandy's not that far behind with a 42% chance. And Texas, by the way, if you're like, well, what's Texas? About 26. Texas has a 26% chance just because they're Texas and because they only have 2 losses. And if they've somehow won out, they would, the committee, there would be some route for them to get in there. But I'm with you. But here's my advice on the betting public on the Vandy Texas game. Take that one off. Don't feel like you, even though you might, I love betting Texas, or I love this game is exciting to me. Just have the self-control to take a pass is what I would say on that game. Now there are other games, and some of them I think, Scotty, you may bring up. There are other ones that I'm like, dang. Like I mean that you talked about Tech, and we'll talk about it here in a second. But that K-State team's playing, and I know you called it that guy was overrated, and I think you were right. And he got off to a horrible start this season. And I'm talking about Avery Johnson, Kansas State quarterback. But Scotty, I know you've looked at this. His past 4 games, and that might include a Baylor game in there, in fact. But his 4 games have been incredible. And he's running a lot more.
Yep.
His completion percentage is way up, and his QBR has basically doubled. I mean, it's unbelievable. He was so bad first 4 games, but he has been good these last 4 games.
Well, when I talked to Joe Tillery for Please Bear With Me, Kansas State guy up there covers the team, he told me before they played Baylor, he said they have tried to put Avery Johnson in a box, and they're not wanting him to run. And that's absurd. That's absurd for a guy that's that talented and gifted in that aspect of the game. And so I think, to your point, I think against Baylor is probably the week that they said, hey, all right, training wheels off, like go. And I think it's greatly benefited him, and it's greatly benefited that team. So, yeah, but let's walk through some of the games this weekend. So we talked about Vandy, Texas. Ohio State has been bet down actually to an 18.5-point favorite over Penn State. I think that's going to be a rough day for the Nittany Lions. I can't see any world in which I don't even know if they cover 18.5, Matt.
Where'd you say that game was?
It is in Columbus, sir.
It is. Yeah, even though a few of those teams have kind of played a little bit better with their interim staffs, Ohio State's such a monster right now. They're one of what we call the big 3 right now, and A&M's one of them. But with alongside Indiana, I think we kind of think of those 3 schools in college football right now is not the programs forever. Don't hear me wrong. I'm just talking about this year's teams. We kind of put them in the big 3. So I agree with you. Give me Ohio State to cover the 18.
I think I'm with you. Miami travels to Dallas to take on SMU. Now, this SMU team has faltered a little bit, Matt, this season. Miami did just drop one to Louisville, so they're 6-1 now. Miami favored by 10.5.
I saw this one at one point at 11.5, down to 10.5. I'm with you though. Like, this is one that's grabbing my attention because it's not like the ACC is great, and Miami had a really rough outing against Louisville. They tried to come back, couldn't get it done. SMU's got 3 losses this year, but you know what? They're 3-1 in conference. I mean, that was a bad loss to Wake Forest. They lost to TCU and Baylor, but they're 3-1 in conference. They're at home. I like the Mustangs to not win straight up, really, but I like them to cover at home. That's a big number for an SMU team that we're not far removed from still talking about, could they make the playoff? Could they do this? I mean, like, that's a bad loss to Wake Forest, but that doesn't mean they can't compete at home with Miami. I mean, I think we're learning that Miami's not as great as we thought they were. So I would take the Mustangs to cover, and I would have this. Okay, here's the way old Norm Hitzkiss used to do it. When you really feel great about something, Scotty, you go with the triple play. When you feel like huge, when you like it, you know, you don't love it like a triple play. But when you kind of like it, you go double play. And so I would double play the Mustangs here at home to cover the 10.5.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we're going to learn a lot about this team. Here's an intriguing thing for me to think about, Matt, as we're talking about a coaching carousel. In my mind, I think Rhett Lashley probably wants that Arkansas job. And I'm wondering if this isn't a opportunity for him to make a statement. Because Miami, other than that game against Louisville, and by the way, Jeff Brom's Louisville has a habit of beating top 10 teams. They do it pretty regularly. I think they're 5-1 now against top 10 opponents when it was Jeff Brom at Louisville. I wonder if this isn't an opportunity for Lashley to say something against a pretty good team and get the Razorbacks' attention.
I think because Jerry Jones loves Rhett and because Rhett played at Arkansas,
bingo,
he's already got their attention. I like where you're going with this, but I will say this. I think if he has the opportunity, he'll pick Auburn over his alma mater. I think
really
pick Auburn over Arkansas. I just think it's a better job. I think we've seen over the years that it's just dang near impossible to win at Arkansas. And I hate it because that fan base loves it. And you ought to be able to do it there, but folks don't. And the only one that ever had any success since they've been in the SEC, Houston Nutt had a little bit of success, and then Petrino had success before the motorcycle thing. And they're not going to stick with him. So I think Lashley knows that job backwards and forwards. He knows that school backwards and forwards. And I think if given the opportunity, he would pick Auburn over his alma mater.
All right. Matt, one game I'm going to keep my eye on tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Navy and North Texas is really intriguing to me. Now, we had some drama in that group of 6 race to the playoff last night. UTSA walloped Tulane in San Antonio last night. Completely eliminated Tulane from their kind of race towards the playoff. So Tulane's been eliminated from that group of 6 spot. Navy and North Texas, 7-0 and 7-1, both very much still with an opportunity to potentially make the college football playoff. And Matt, I'm going to go through maybe in half an hour, 20 minutes, the guys I like for this potential Baylor opening, both of them coaching in this game. Brian Newberry at Navy, Eric Morris at North Texas. I'm really intrigued. Navy opens as a 6.5-point underdog in this game. Navy hasn't really played anyone of note this year. But Matt, that North Texas team is very reliant on that high-scoring, air it out, throw the ball around the yard offense. And Navy's offense, that triple option, is primed to keep your offense off the field. It's going to be a big test for the Mean Green.
Yeah, and Newberry, as we've detailed, I started doing this last year when I was back in the radio days. This Newberry is a Baylor guy through and through, played at Baylor. Love this guy. I really do. And let me just tell you this, Scotty, I had forgotten this happened when they played Air Force. Air Force is not very good. I'm not saying they are, but, you don't see service academies throw for, if they throw for over 100 yards, that's like a big day, right? You talk about a different sort of Navy situation. And whoever this offensive coordinator they brought in, this is interesting to me. This kid threw for over 300 yards in that game. He ran for 100. I think it may we're talking about Blake Horvath anyway, he ran for like 160, which isn't unusual. And he threw for like 340 yards or something. That never happened. So,
by the way, Blake Horvath kind of quieter this year because, again, they haven't really played anybody. But he was at one point, like midway through the season last year, getting some very, very preliminary light Heisman talk. This is a good football player.
This would have been a great year for somebody like that to break through.
Well, and listen, Navy, here's who Navy's got left on their schedule. They got North Texas left. They got Notre Dame left. They've got Memphis left. And they've got USF left. So they've got 4 quality opponents here in November that if they were to go 3-1 with their only loss to Notre Dame, or God forbid they go 4-0, I think they walk into the playoff. And that would be something. But it starts tomorrow at 11 o'clock against a really good North Texas team.
By the way, as I said recently, keep your eye on the committee. Because if Notre Dame, and their schedule is a lot easier in November, they had great strength of schedule up until now. They've got those 2 losses. The A&M loss looks so much better now. The A&M loss looks like a great loss, right?
Right.
And then Miami kind of looks like a whatever. You could maybe pass it off like first start of the kid's career, whatever. But they're 5-2, and just watch out for the committee here because Notre Dame, there are certain schools who always get a little more consideration, it would think. And because they are off to the side and they play a different type schedule and they're viewed differently. And, by the way, let me tell you who loves the Notre Dame program. Well, not even going to get into that, but let's just say there are people on the committee that have a lot of love for those Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Who else do you have?
Let's do some rapid fire picks real quick so we can get this segment done on time here.
Rapid.
Arizona State. This line opened at 3.5. It's now 7.5 going to Arizona State as they go to Ames. Remember, Arizona State playing without Jordan Tyson or Sam Leavitt. Yeah,
and sadly, Leavitt today was he's out for the season. So Leavitt is not returning this season. News breaking earlier today. That news was out there. And so that's tough. That's tough for Arizona State. But if you doubt the great Dillingham at your own risk. That's a big number. So you're saying Arizona State has gone from a 3.5 to a 7.5 point underdog. Give me the Sun Devils.
Upset alert for me. 2 games, Matt. 2 games where I think I'm going to pick the dog. Georgia going to the Swamp, favored by 7.5. I'm taking Florida.
No, now that game will be neutral site. Remember, Georgia and Florida.
Oh, good call. Thank you.
Jacksonville. So that's the world's greatest cocktail party. So tell me again, who's how much is Georgia favored by?
7.5.
Give me Georgia on that one. Give me because Florida's salty on defense, but man, Georgia's been hanging a ton of points. I like that the way that quarterback's playing, and I do not see Florida hanging for like the whole game. I think there'll be a point where the dam will break. So give me Georgia in that one.
Here's my other upset alert. Texas Tech, 7.5-point favorite in Manhattan over Kansas State. I really like Kansas State here, Matt.
Yeah, and boy, that thing opened at 6.5. That's really interesting that it's gone that direction. That thing's moved 7.5. Give me the Wildcats. Give me the Wildcats there. And even though I believe Baron Morton is returning to the field, and I do think the CFP will take a peek at that loss, that Texas Tech loss, and will note that that loss happened with a backup quarterback. The backup quarterback loss is always in the equation, although it can also hurt you in a different sort of way. With Florida State, they knew the starter wasn't coming back,
right?
So they did not let them into the playoff that time, as all Florida State fans remember.
Oklahoma Sooners traveling to Knoxville, 2.5-point underdogs as the road team.
Yeah, I don't like Oklahoma right now. I don't like. That's a tough spot. Those teams similar, aren't they both 6-2?
They're both 6-2, yes, sir.
I like the Vols. I like the Vols to cover this thing at home. And quite honestly, if you really want to be honest about it, that's like that guy should be the Sooners coach. I mean, I don't think Venables is long for that program, sadly. I thought he might be a decent fit for them. It hasn't really worked out. I'm with you. I don't think they'll fire him this year, but that's their favorite son is old Josh Heupel. And they had to, years ago, they had to bounce him out of town. And those are always sad deals that happen. And Heupel's never gotten over it. And this is a situation where he loves to put it to these fellas. So I think the Vols could end up winning big there.
Think I'm with you. Last game to pick. Game of the week. College game day is there. Big 12 implications. Cincinnati traveling to Utah. Matt, did you see this line?
Yeah.
Opened at 7.5. Now 10.5. Utah favored at home. Matt, I know my Baylor Bears aren't very good, but Cincinnati sure looked like an outstanding football team against Baylor. Their only loss was the first game of the season. They're on a 7-game winning streak. Haven't lost a conference game yet. Utah is 6-2. I don't know. I think if I were betting this one, I would take Cincinnati against the line, even if Utah ends up winning the game. 10.5 is a lot. I know it's in Salt Lake City, but I think Cincinnati's pretty good, man.
I agree. Although that dude dealt out so much punishment to the Bears, that starting Pryor is that running back who's so good. He's out for this game for Cincinnati. They got another guy, Tawee, Tawee, I believe is his first name. Pretty good player.
And Sorsby, man, I think Cincinnati, Utah's got a little tiny quarterback controversy going on now, and Sorsby is good, man. Like Sorsby is pretty lights out as far as most quarterback statistics go. He's top 5-6 in the country. It's hard for me to give a really great quarterback 10.5 points.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm gonna go with you on that one, and I'll give me the Bearcats. Give me the Bearcats to cover. I think Utah will probably find a way to win that game, but give me the Bearcats to cover, and I hope the Bearcats hang in there. I like to see a coach save himself. I don't know. I'm afraid Aranda's past that with the Bears, but old Satterfield was kind of out there flopping around. They're like, well, we don't really want to make a change. Let's just see what Scott can do. And lo and behold, he got him a good quarterback. That's what's really sad for Baylor is to have all these receivers, have this great running back, have this great quarterback, and it doesn't matter. That's pitiful. That's pathetic and I know the offense has made some mistakes and they're not completely without blame, but that's a sickening feeling. Okay, we're going to look at some of Scotty's coaches. I've been out there kind of dabbling, grabbing some information, nuggets to share with you. as we get you ready for this Baylor UCF and what happens. Where does Baylor? By the way, Scotty, that's Zach Smith from Waco Trib. That's kind of his favorite question. Where do you go from here? And I can't remember who asked it, but years ago they asked Kevin Steele that. And yet it was they got killed by New Mexico, a horrible Lobos team. I was out there covering it with Jerry Hill. I was with the Morning News. Jerry was a Waco Trib, and somebody said, "Kevin, where do you go from here?" And Kevin just looked at him and said, "Home." That's a good line. I mean, he was a horrible coach, but I love a good line. Okay, let's talk Baylor coaching candidates next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
It is the Mosley Show, and good to be with you as we get you ready for homecoming. And man, all the things that come with that. I'll be at Pigskin tonight watching my nephew, the great John Andrew Logston, and he's in a quartet. He's in a duet representing the Kappa Omega Tau. I used to like how George Stokes said it. When you were a real little kid, Scotty, and perhaps even before you ever entered this world. Well, let's see what year you were born. Anyway, there was a old gentleman, and he used to do the PA at Baylor games, and he just had he had the most distinctive voice, and he would be like, Pi Beta Phi, Kappa Omega Tau, and that was the late great George Stokes. And then at Baylor games, I mean, you would hear it, Mike Singletary. He just had it really resonated, and extremely distinctive voice. And now you have Blair Browning, my old college roommate. And I don't really have a Blair imitation. Like, hey, guys. Hey, Baylor. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. Blair's a real, earnest. It's a very, like if, you had he was kind of, you were at church, you were at a non-denominational church, and he was kind of doing that intro, getting everybody fired up before turning it over to the pastor, who comes up in some really good sneakers. Blair would have a real, hey guys, I'm, kind of one of those things, but he does a good job, does a great job tonight at 10:30.
Now, Matt, are we doing impressions because it's Halloween?
I don't know. I was just thinking of the late great George Stokes, because he's such a Baylor legend, and I broke into it. But people that know, if you know, you know.
Matt, you just need to be aware there are at minimum 2, if not 3 or 4, men you work with at Rogue Media who have a pretty good Matt Mosley impression.
No, but that's I know, and there are others out there. And
I'm sure there are.
Even AI has entered that deal.
AI has entered the chat. That's true.
And that thing that I don't know if you ever saw that Ashley Hodge put together with me and Dion having some kind of disagreement in a news conference was just fake. And you cannot imagine, everywhere I went in the community where I live in the Dallas area, like, oh, I saw that thing, you and Dion. Way to give it back to him. I'm like, that's fake. That wasn't
Matt. I'll just, if you ever want to do the most viral segment of your life, I think Cam Stewart and I could do a Mosley interviewing Mosley. And I think that could be a hit. I think that could be a local hit.
I sent you Cam's latest work. This is why I'm worried about Cam being anywhere involved with my show. Let me see if I can figure this out. Didn't I send this to you a minute ago? This is a Cam. Dang it, it won't pop up. So it didn't come through to you. This was a Cam Locked On headline, and it was like he's somehow referring to Baylor needing a miracle win Saturday. It's like, come on. Like, you have to at least make the headline like at least like a tiny bit believable. Where is it? Because I sent this to somebody else. Hold on. This is Cam at his best. Speaking of Cam, yes, we'll do that someday. All right, we'll do that. Mosley being interviewed by Mosley impersonators. This is Locked On Baylor. This is a very well connected. Well, I don't know if it's connected. It's a well listened to show. It's a much listened to show. Urgent, it says. Baylor must pull off, in all caps, this miracle to beat UCF on homecoming. 3 keys to victory. Scotty, how do you write that headline with a straight face? I guess if you get to the point.
I don't know if Cam Stewart does a lot of things with a straight face.
I guess if you get to the point where you're just like, the only interest is engagement, and there's no other interest.
I feel like my Cam Stewart impression, though, is just like talking way too aggressively about everything. It's kind of how, and I love Locked On Baylor. I literally listen to Cam's show 3 or 4 times a week. Like I really enjoy it. But I think it's like, coming up, Locked On Baylor. I mean, come on, man. Dave Aranda's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, that's kind of how the whole.
But, the thing about Cam, he doesn't stay in that range. At least he can.
No,
he'll
kind of
come.
No,
back
he'll kind
down.
of bring it down here, Matt. He'll bring it down here, settle in down here, but then he'll end up yelling about it. Yeah. He'll end up yelling about it and wanting to go to a game at the Garden.
Well, Cam hitched his wagon, or I don't know which way it was. I don't know who hitched his wagon to who, but Cam got involved with our buddy Drake, and it just once you connect yourself to Drake, it's hard to kind of battle through that, because Drake had managed to get under the skin of pretty much everybody on the Baylor campus, and so Cam then kind of inherited that, and then of course I spent all that time trying to kind of help dig him out of that, and then he leaves me. Then he's like, I'm going to wherever he went, Chicago. I'm going to go hang out in Chicago with my fiance. And now it's like, well, she wasn't his fiance, but then she became his fiance. Okay, Scotty, because you and I need to say goodbye a little early today because of obligations and because of tomorrow and because of homecoming. I tried to get somebody today who shall remain nameless, Scotty, and they told me it's like a major Baylor coach, and they were like, they said something like he's got a lot of homecoming duties. And I would love to know, like, all the different Baylor coaches, for instance, like, what are their homecoming duties? Like, I just want to know, like, what they're up to today. Like, what are all these homecoming duties? Now, you and I, Scotty, do have homecoming duties. And by the way, do you think, as we get into this Baylor coaching thing, and we're going to see Scotty's list, and we're going to talk about it for a second, do you think they'll bring Dave Aranda out to Bonfire tonight? I think they have to.
Matt.
They always bring the head coach and like Sawyer will be there and Josh
Matt,
Cameron.
Matt, I'm going to make a prediction.
I think they have to.
I think you're right. I think they have to. And I shudder to think of the know the moment and maturity level of most 18 to 22-year-olds. That man might get booed if they bring him out.
I think it's mostly folks like my age, and I
listen,
the students, because the students are all either coming from the stuff or
I hear you, and so maybe it'll be fine. But I shudder to think about the amount of Baylor students or very young Baylor alum who do not yet understand the idea of time and place. Because I would not, as much as I've been vocal on this show about what's best for Baylor, no way in heck would I boo somebody at a public appearance on a nice homecoming tradition. 22-year-old Scotty might have done it.
You think he'll
might have done it at 22? Yeah.
It's probably 50-50 whether he gets booed on stage.
I'm gonna put it at 70-30.
I don't want it to happen. In fact,
no, me neither. That's why I said I shudder to think.
I may wander onto stage and give a little like, he's coming up here.
You should.
Let's be gracious. Let's be the great Baylor people.
I'll give you $10 I'll give you $10 if you do that.
John should have me up there.
I'll give you $10. I will give you $10 if you do.
John and Lori will be up there. Hey, Baylor.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back, Baylor Nation.
Just want to make sure we're
respectful.
Respect the coach.
You know who there's some people over at Baylor that love what we're doing. They love like this whole YouTube thing, which I'm glad, because there's still some older folks that are like, I miss you, man. I miss you. And I'm always like, you can log on. It's not that hard to find me.
Right.
But the older group is still tied into radio pretty hardcore. And so in their minds, basically my career has come to a complete end. Okay. I want to see this. Okay, you looked up some numbers.
Yeah.
Yesterday you were throwing some Casey Keeler at me.
I was.
This is the long time, just to refresh people. You're going to put some of his numbers and things up on the screen, and then I'm going to respond to some of that. But this is your power ranking.
So I'm going to do this every week, and that doesn't mean we have to do it on your show every week. But I'm just for my own edification here. Every week, my power rankings of who I would want to see as the next head coach at Baylor. This is not who I think Baylor will hire. This is who I would like to see in that spot. My power rankings include Casey Keeler at number 1. I've become convinced that he would be the best choice. Eric Morris from North Texas at number 2. I think he would instantly bring the high-flying offense back to Baylor. Obviously knows how to coach in the state. Will Stein, Oregon offensive coordinator, number 3. A guy that coached in Texas for many years. We'll show you his resume in a second. Brian Newberry, just talked about him. Navy playing UNT tomorrow. Baylor player turned head coach, very successful. And then, Matt, there is a big part of my heart that would say, listen, if you like what Coach Aranda's done off the field, if you like this recruiting class, if you think the problems stem back to Aranda, give Keenan Hall a run. Just give him a run. Everybody loves Keenan Hall. He's very well respected. He will be a head coach at some point. Let's just see. And it could be, it could be a year where if it still sucks, you move on. But there's part of me that thinks that would be prudent. Now, you asked me yesterday, you challenged me a little bit about Casey Keeler because he is 66. But I want to remind you of his resume, because I think this is what you need to be looking for if you're Baylor. Not that it has to have all of these particulars, but I think if you're Baylor, you need to get a proven winner. And you're not going to get some, proven winner from LSU or from, that's a bad example, from a big program to Baylor, but you could get a proven winner from a smaller program. Look at Casey Keeler's resume. 2 national championships, only 4 losing seasons in 33 years as a college football head coach. And he spent 11 of those 33 being very successful, including a national championship run at Sam Houston State.
Okay.
I really think this is your guy. I don't think there's a better candidate. I think he instantly gets Baylor to 9 or 10 wins a season. To me, it's the Signetti and the Willie Fritz mold. That's who Casey Keeler is.
All right. I've got notes on this and some of the other coaches. And then we got to say goodbye, sadly. They're making us get out early today for maintenance. Maintenance issues. What's Lizzie doing? Is she over there today? She already leave.
She is over here today.
Do they have bagels in Waco? I'd love a good toasted bagel.
I think the truthful answer, I think the most truthful answer is there are bagels in Waco. There are not good bagels in Waco.
Dang it.
I think if you were going to find one, there's that bakery
tomorrow morning.
Have you had any across the street? What's that place called? No, is it called Neighborhood Bakery next to Dichotomy? There's a bakery next to Dichotomy that might be your best bet.
Hey, there's a new taco place over there where Brew used to be, or BRU, and those people do some neat things. Okay, Delaware. I got the only thing we need to do further investigation. I'm not saying this is disqualifying. He has this incredible run there, and he should have been like the most celebrated guy ever for the national titles and all the things that you're saying. But I think it's worth adding that after the 2012 season, they ran him out of town and fired him at that place. And it's just not to I hate Casey Keeler. I don't know why he got fired. I mean, other than that year they went 5-6 and they went 4 out of 5 seasons without making the playoff after having this unbelievable run at Delaware. I think that when we're talking about Casey, that maybe warrants a little further looking into as you declare him your number 1 guy. Why did this place where he was incredible, why did they sour on him, and why did they fire him? Okay, because that happened a good while ago, but not that long ago.
Fair question. Okay,
it happened about 12 years ago. Now he is Sam Houston, and as you said, he's at Temple. So it's not that you can't hire people that have, for whatever reason, stepped in the ditch at some point in their career. But that is the only thing I was going to bring up to you, Scotty, because it just kind of gave me pause. Now I don't like doing the ageism thing. I really don't. But him being 66 bugs me. And I'm a man I have finally reached I am almost to 50. I'm peaking at it as we speak. So I should not be, getting that. But something about hiring a 66-year-old head coach is just like, ugh. I don't.
Man, I guess you must hate Kurt Signetti. I know he's too old. You get above 60, you can't coach good college football.
I mean, just because I make that statement doesn't mean I hate Kurt Signetti. I love what he's doing. Now, when they hired him, he was a little bit younger, right? He was 63. This guy is 66, and I just don't. The world is not full of dudes that coach into their mid. Back in the day, I mean, the greatest coach in the University of Texas history, Darrell Royal, decided to walk away at age 52. For goodness sakes.
Yeah, but we agree that if Nick Saban came back into coaching right now, he'd still be the best in the sport, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Saban.
Okay, so if you can coach, you can coach. I don't really care how old you are.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just being upfront. I don't love the idea. I mean, my gosh, I think you would be the first to not compare Keeler to Nick Saban. We're going to throw out the greatest coach of all time. We don't know what Keeler might be at a larger, better place.
I've compared him way more to Sig.
We know Rule. Well, I know, but you just brought up Saban. We know that Rule was ready for the jump, and he did a nice jump. And then, of course, but his mind, because he'd spent 1 year with Tom at the Giants, and his mind was on the NFL. And for various reasons, he failed miserably at the NFL. And I think he found out, hey, I'm a college coach, and maybe I'm a really good college coach. I wish you could put Matt on there. Love to have Matt back, but I don't think Matt's returning from Nebraska to coach the Baylor Bears again. I'm afraid in his mind he would view that as a step back.
Let me throw up this resume, because we're going to see polar opposites here. This is the guy you like, at least you've said. And you're not the only one. Shahan J. Rogers mentioned his name as a possible candidate for Baylor. Will Stein, one of the trendy names right now. He's just a little older than me. I think maybe 36, 37. He has had outstanding offenses as an OC. 14th, 2nd, 17th, and 6th in the nation since 2022. That's 1 year at UTSA and 3 at Oregon. By the way, I looked up both yards per game and points per game, and those rankings are the same all the way through. He was in Texas from 2015 to 2022, including being an offensive coordinator at Lake Travis High School, which is valuable if you're going to coach as a head coach in Baylor. But here's what I'd say, Matt. I think he's more of a risk than a Keeler, because he's never been a head coach. And Baylor just hired a coordinator who was really hot and really good, who'd never been a head coach, and we're about to fire him.
Oh, I know. But, I mean, I also can remind you that some of the great head coaches out there right now were first-time head coaches. They had to come from somewhere. They had to start. And, I mean, I'm talking about Dillingham. I'm talking about, Lanning. I'm talking about Kirby. I mean, you go one after another. These guys were really good coordinators. Now, you miss on some of them. You think they didn't think Will Muschamp, when he was a great defensive coordinator for Mac Brown, was going to be a great head coach someday? They named him the coach in waiting at Texas, and he finally got tired of waiting, and he ends up at Florida. He ends up somewhere else, like South Carolina. I mean, they kept giving him chances, and it didn't work for whatever reason. So I'm with you. I just don't know. I guess what I'm saying is none of these, including even Sumrall, none of these like current head coaches really fire me up at all. I will say, you got to hand it to our man in UTSA. What do you do? They're just sitting there kind of, they're like 3-4, kind of having a down season. And I watched him live against what turns out this great A&M team. You know what that game was in the third quarter? It's 21-17. I mean, he had UTSA in that game. And last night, he just put it to Tulane. I turned on that game, and it's like, whoa, what? 38-12? I mean, and it's not like, but Matt, that was in the Alamo Dome. They can barely turn the lights on there. I mean, they might get about 12,000 fans in there. I mean, they're just in there hooting and hollering, having a fun time, but that's not like a real great home field advantage. That guy can, I mean, the truth is that guy can flat out coach. I mean, he can. But again, that doesn't excite anybody either. Me either, by the way. That doesn't get me that excited. I don't know. The problem is you're firing a coach at a time when it's just so crowded. And maybe we're just not thinking about somebody, including, like maybe the next Matt Rule is out there. Like, who are we not thinking about? Who's the next Matt Rule? I liked whoever you brought up. Who'd you say was 48 years old? That was somewhere that we kind of liked. Was that Summerall? Who's 48? You remember yesterday you brought up somebody that was
Summerall.
That kind of hit the, that kind of, and again, I don't think it's fair to go, well, they lost to UTSA. Who wants to hire John Summerall? The guy's been great. At Tulane. My gosh, he's had Tulane in the playoff discussion for 2 or 3 seasons now. So I don't hold just one loss against him. And I love those helmets. I wish he'd bring those helmets with him. Love those like powder blue helmets. Those really look nice. In fact, it kind of reminds me of that Columbia blue that they have out at China Spring. That's a real cool looking blue. And then they put that green on there, the Tulane Golden Wave. That's a beautiful looking thing. All right, Scotty, anybody else on your list that you need to tout? Is there anybody going this weekend, or any of our coaches got a big game coming up? Any of our potential coaches? Like, is there anybody in the Big 12 that we'd like to just go, yeah, we want him? I mean, Dillingham, obviously, but I don't think they're getting him.
We're not getting anyone from a Big 12 program, I don't think. I think the guy you'd want, sorry, he's old. I think you'd want Willie Fritz, if you could talk Willie Fritz into coming up from Houston. But no, I think, again, I said it when we made our picks. I think the game to watch is this UNT Navy game. I think North Texas has been really dominant other than that South Florida game. Morris is not only a candidate likely at Baylor, but likely at Oklahoma State, maybe at some of these other open jobs. But I think Brian Newberry, very quietly, you were saying names that like, who's the next Matt Rule? Like, who's the name nobody's talking about? I think it's Brian Newberry. I'm only talking about Brian Newberry because he played at Baylor. I don't think he's a trendy name, a flashy name, but he's a freaking winner. And I think could do a lot of good things as a head coach. So that Navy North Texas game tomorrow at 11, it'll be going simultaneous with Baylor's game. I might keep an eye on it.
Though, I just realized he's actually 51. He's a little old. He's a little too old for me. No, I love it, man. This guy, look, he's my age, young buck. This is, and by the way, this was a big name for us last year when things were going south. We dug into I was talking Newberry, kind of like you're talking Keeler, like you're talking Methuselah. But we do need to delve into the Delaware. What happened? Why'd y'all do that? Why'd y'all run off my man back in the day? But yeah, I like all these. Scotty, I look forward to it. We're going to be doing some KWTX work. We'll be doing our YouTube, our Green and Gold Game Day. Man, subscribe, watch that. It's going to be great. You can watch us on KWTX. That'll start tomorrow. Well, the YouTube show starts at 8 a.m. Scotty's got a lot of cool stuff right off the top. Faith and I join him at 9, and then we'll take you close to kickoff. We'll just take you 10:30, 10:40. We'll cut and run over the stadium. Scotty's got friends to see. He's got people to meet. Man, I hope, Scotty, you ought to take your friends over there to the Armstrong Browning Library. What a gorgeous library. I don't know if you ever peeked your head in there. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. But Scotty's got a lot of things to do. And in fact, he's got some Halloween activities with his little girl. That's going to be exciting tonight. Trunk or treat. Little trunk or treat is what you do with the little ones. And we got a really good looking ladybug that's going to be out there doing her thing this evening. And trunk or treat. I like people that do that. Okay. And Baylor, I think, is in the middle of all that. Maybe tonight would be a good night, Scotty, to get her first Dr. Pepper float. All right. Introduce her to the land of the Dr. Pepper float. Thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you, Claude and Becky. Appreciate it. Great to see you all yesterday. Art Briles was calling them from the stage. He was so happy to see the Lindsay family. They've been great supporters of all the Baylor coaches going way back, and that's why the people always take all their recruits and everybody, like let's go to the Brazos Landing. Let's get over there by that river and get some of that beautiful wind coming right off that river. Thanks to Brazos Landing. Thank you to Central National Bank. What an incredible bank it is. Our presenting sponsor, Cherry, Siegmund, Johnson James. I've gotten you mixed up. I'm sorry for a moment, but boy, what a great law firm that is. Cherry Johnson Siegmund James is the way we do that. And went to law school with one of those guys. Have known one of them for many, many years, and appreciative to all our folks. Ascension Providence. Love you guys. Love the all the doctors, especially that pediatric. I mean, that was really cool, that doctor the other day that Scotty had on. So anyway, who knows? Scotty may be doing more of those interviews this weekend. All right, it is the Mosley Show for Lizzie, for Scotty, and Rogue Media Nation and the Rogue Media Network. I am Matt Mosley. We'll see you tomorrow morning.